Good day, and welcome to the WANA webinar series. As you will notice, all participants have been muted. To enable multi-language closed captioning, click on the CC icon in the bottom left of your WebEx window. We have added a few notes within the chat window to enhance your webinar experience, such as changing your closed captioning language, how to submit a question, how to adjust your meeting view, and how to reach us for technical support. Select the chat icon at the bottom right of your screen to review these features and to engage with fellow members on today's topics. We welcome questions throughout today's event through the Q&A panel, and we'll answer these after all presentations have concluded. Thank you for joining, and please welcome Tracy.
Good morning and welcome to Assembling the Dream Team, preparing your clubhouse for a successful colleague training experience. Colleague training is an opportunity to learn about and experience clubhouse philosophy, culture, relationships, and the work order day operations of Clubhouse model program. Whether starting a new clubhouse or moving an established clubhouse to a higher level of operation, the goal of the training is to help colleagues implement and enhance a clubhouse model program in their own communities. Selecting the right team to attend colleague training will assure that your clubhouse will grow stronger and better. In this webinar, we will give you some best practices for selecting and supporting a comprehensive Clubhouse training team. Currently, Clubhouse International has 12 training bases scattered across the globe. You can find information about them on our clubhouseinternational.org website. Again, my name is Tracy McPherson. I'm a member of the Independence Center in St. Louis, Missouri. And we have 3 clubhouses here today to talk to you about assembling your dream team. They are High Hopes Clubhouse in Waterville, Maine, Spirit Crossing Clubhouse in Fort Collins, Colorado, and the Independence Center in St. Louis, Missouri. We're going to start today with High Hopes Clubhouse.
Hi, I'm Lisa Susi, and I'm the director of High Hopes Clubhouse.
Hi, I'm James Sweet. I've been a member of High Hopes Clubhouse this May 4 years.
So High Hopes has been around now for 25 years, and we've been very fortunate to get into our main care or Medicaid regulations for the state that every single clubhouse staff has to be colleague trained. So as a result, I've been involved with sending 23 teams to training over the years. I've got some pointers and some do's and don'ts for you today, just for consideration, and what we found works and doesn't work. First of all, wait some time to ensure that you have a real clubhouse staff. We used to send staff on their, first month or so of employment. We'd send them right off to colleague training. And training is expensive, and when they would come back, our goal is to have them around for a long time. So we want to make sure that they plan on sticking with Clubhouse. We found out not to try to fix a staff or fix a problem staff person that you may have on your team. It just doesn't work. Sending them to colleague training is not the fix. Instead, send the staff that you want to be invested in, that you want in your club, that is going to be that strong clubhouse person to bring back some value to your clubhouse. We found out that brainstorming as a clubhouse and to give the team that is going ideas of where we would like to focus on in the action plans is helpful. So when our teams go down, they kind of have an action plan already started in their minds. And we come up with that as a clubhouse because the team works hard to do an action plan. And you never want the team to come back and the clubhouse to reject that action plan or not want to go in the same area as the team thought that they did. I have a lot of expectations from my teams, both staff and members. The need for stamina, the ability to handle travel, the commitment to participate fully, the ability to live with others, and the need to ensure that all personal situations are taken care of and won't be an issue while on training. And honestly, I have found that more difficult with staff than members. So sometimes the staff are the ones needing the extra support. Think about the number of teams that you have to send to training within a time frame. This will assist in the areas of focus on your action plans. You want to have action plans that make sense in order. So you don't want to load up one team with a whole bunch of steps for an action plan and then have the next team not have anything. If someone other than the director goes as a second week administrator, make sure that this person is a person who can make change. For example, hospice agency people, it's great to send the CEO, the administrator, the clinical director. But as the director, I still want to guide that action plan with the team as members and staff of the clubhouse know the day-to-day operations. I've seen clubhouses send people that are equal. So like one unit coordinator going down to support another unit coordinator and member team. But that doesn't work because you need that second week administrator to come back and be able to make changes that you come up with in your action plan. Be aware of the write an essay trap or present to the director why you deserve to go. This can limit people within your clubhouse that are leaders in your clubhouse and may know clubhouse inside and out, but may not write well, or they may struggle with reading. So don't limit who can go. And make sure that the staff and member team has a good working relationships. Have the member and staff have a say in who they want to go on training with.
All right, there are a few considerations to contemplate when choosing a member to go to colleague training. It is best to send a member that has a good relationship with staff. Travel can be stressful for anyone, and having a supportive relationship can make all the difference. It is essential that the member chosen be able to cope with the travel and being away from home for 2 weeks. The member must be willing to share a room with training colleagues, possibly from other clubhouses. The member should have some basic knowledge on the 37 standards. The members should have consistent participation in the clubhouse. Those who not only engage in the work order day, but also take part in other areas such as presentations, clubhouse meetings, advocacy, and other events are good choices for this intensive training experience. Stamina is needed in order to fully participate in the 2-week training. They need to be ready for long days, late nights, and weekend activities. The members should have a commitment to complete the readings and participate in group discussions while at their colleague training. The members should have a willingness to work with other training colleagues. They will be spending a lot of time with others. The members should have the ability and willingness to participate in the presentation and the implementation of the action plan upon their return home. The member must have a plan to have ongoing involvement in the clubhouse upon their return home. It should be expressed before going and when they come back that the training is not a graduation from clubhouse. The member is an investment to their community to help share the knowledge of the 37 standards and how they apply to everyday functions of the clubhouse.
So we've had that happen where members think that once they went to 2-week training, that was as far as they could go in Clubhouse, and it was kind of a graduation. So that was a miscommunication on us. And if I can, I may have gotten a little distracted by somebody walking behind me. It's a 2-week colleague training. So I may have said 3-week because I'm old and it used to be 3 weeks. So that's what we have, folks.
Thank you so much, High Hopes Clubhouse. Next, we'll be hearing from Spirit Crossing Clubhouse in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Hello, my name is Skylar. I have been an active member of the clubhouse for the last year and a half.
And my name is Trinity Oberndorf. I've been with the clubhouse since 2006. I am the staff team lead at Spirit Crossing Clubhouse. Spirit Crossing Clubhouse has been around for 24 and a half years. For Spirit Crossing's most recent training experience, we assembled our dream team by first selecting the staff who had been at the clubhouse for about 9 months. Keith was dedicated and ready to learn more about the clubhouse. I was fairly new to my team lead position and was responsible for a lot more leadership in the clubhouse. With this position, I was able to help the team develop and execute an action plan. I was selected as the second week administrator.
Now we have the staff member and the second week administrator. The last step was to select a suitable clubhouse member. Our leadership looked for a clubhouse member who had a high distress tolerance, could comprehend the articles, could contribute to the writing the action plan, and respectfully speak their mind about the future direction of the clubhouse. In addition, our leadership identified someone who was actively involved in the clubhouse, knew the overall operations of the clubhouse, and had formed positive relationships with the staff that were selected for training. I was the clubhouse member selected. Our director invited me to attend the training 3 months before the tentative training date. In the past, any member could apply for training. Then, the entire clubhouse was asked to select a member from a list of applicants. This time, the leadership decided they did not want members sitting in judgment of other members, or the process could become a popularity contest. Therefore, the director worked with the selected staff to identify a short list of members who could be a good fit for training. Then, the director made the final selection using the criteria that were mentioned earlier. Historically, we have assembled 7 teams to attend colleague training, 5 for comprehensive training, and 2 for the employment tracks. We have learned from the mistakes that were made in the colleague selection process. Emphasize with your colleagues that good mental and physical health is vital, especially when being away from home for 2 weeks. For example, staff and member colleagues need to be confident about leaving their family if they have young children or other care provider responsibilities, and have a good self-care plan, maintain their medications, and be stress tolerant.
Our director learned that important lesson when she and the selected member drove to our first training, an 8-hour road trip. This member had been a last-minute decision after the first person selected had backed out 1 week prior to departure. About halfway through the drive, the member disclosed that they had decided to stop taking their medications because it was too hard to get the refills before leaving. This led the member to not have interest in refilling the medications when they arrived at the training base, and they were not able to maintain their mental health. As a result, they boarded a bus to San Francisco. The member missed the full second week of training and then returned to finish out the third week with significant convincing and support from the third week administrator. Like Lisa said, this is a long time ago. Both variations of selecting staff and members application or director selection can work as long as the clubhouse community agrees on the criteria for selection and the communication process is transparent and intentional.
Now that we had our training team, it was time to discuss the expectations and logistics. Keith, Trinity, and I had a few conversations about what to expect and the ways that we were going to accomplish these expectations. We used our recent accreditation report to shape our focus and identify the ways we wanted and needed to grow. Our team brought the question of which goals we wanted the training team to address to our house meeting to get feedback and buy-in from the whole community. This was an opportunity for those not attending training to give suggestions as well. The team met a few times before training to plan the topics of interest. We also zoomed in with the training base to assure that we were adequately prepared for our training experience. These discussions really helped us prepare for training. During the 2-week training, we built relationships with colleagues from other clubhouses and learned that we were not alone in the many issues we had identified. Our team discovered that many clubhouses struggle with the same issues, and we were not the only clubhouse with challenges.
Preparation for training and consistent communication between all members of the team was important for success. Now, while at training, some of the topics we identified back home did not fit well into the action plan, and other topics were added spontaneously through the training process. The action plan was a fluid document that would help our clubhouse grow as we experienced the training. We were able to fine-tune our goals and make an ambitious but achievable plan. Thanks, Ralph Bilby.
While developing our action plan, we had a great collaborative experience with other colleagues in training. We supported the other teams by forming a safe space to discuss what we learned and how to bring those insights back to our communities. In addition, we shared our current issues, strengths, and challenges with each other and learned a lot in the after-hours discussions.
A couple of times during the training, our director called in so that she could stay connected to the team. One morning, our first week team colleagues also zoomed back into our check-in meeting to say hi and connect with their clubhouse. It sure was great to see them, and we missed them quite a bit. When the whole team returned to Spirit Crossing, we presented the action plan to the whole house and made adjustments based on feedback from our community. With consensus from the clubhouse, we had a final action plan. Now, working towards our goals, we have posted our action plan and progress bar in the main hallway of our clubhouse for all to see and be accountable to. Keeping our action plan an active part of our day helps us to keep growing.
We have also scheduled a whole house retreat to continue to flesh out the action plan, create an even more concrete steps to meet our goals, and get everyone's buy-in to the process.
And for our dream teams and our clubhouse, we get more than just an action plan to help our clubhouse grow. We get a sense of how to support each other in the day-to-day. We get stronger relationships. We get to see others' passion for Clubhouse, and it motivates us to become more passionate ourselves. We get the understanding that we are not alone in the Clubhouse world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Spirit Crossing. And last but never least, we have the Independence Center of St. Louis, Missouri.
Hello, I'm Peter Strader. I'm from Independence Center in St. Louis, Missouri. I've been in my clubhouse for 25 years, a little over, so I'm one of those old timers too. And I've been the colleague training coordinator for almost 20 years of that time.
My name is Marco Mino, also from the Independence Center, St. Louis. And I've been a member since 2013. And I assist with colleague training along with Pete and Tracy here at the Independence Center. Been doing that since 2017.
So today Marco and I are going to talk a little bit about how the training base supports visiting clubhouses with selecting the training team and ongoing support. So first of all, I usually get a contact, a phone call or an email from a clubhouse director. Depending on how new that clubhouse is or well established that clubhouse is, we start the conversation about team selection. We send out materials that talk about best practices for selecting members, which Spirit Crossing and High Hopes did a wonderful job of talking about. In addition, we send a document that talks about how the clubhouse can support their team while they're away for training. And Marco's going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So after the initial contact with the director, we set up a video call with the entire training team, all the clubhouses that are going to attend Independence Center. We send up a video conference call. Not only have we found this a way to talk about things like where they're staying, go over the schedule, on how they'll be working, during the day and in the evenings and even a little bit on the weekend. Talk about what their dietary needs are, medical needs, what other supports they need. For example, some people ask about AA and NA meetings, and we can get them connected before they actually come here. A little bit of the conversation is definitely about action planning, but really we talk more about a lot of the other things, because it's those other things that oftentimes people have some fear and they're a little bit reluctant to go to training because there's a lot of unknown. So we take this time to kind of allay those fears and talk in detail about what the expectations of them are and what they can expect from the training base. So like I said, not only does it share vital information, but this is where those real relationships start to form, not only with the training base, but with the clubhouses that are coming for training. Established clubhouses like High Hopes and Spirit Crossing, they kind of know the routine. It's those newer clubhouses that we really have to guide to help make good selections, right? Don't send people to be fixed, etc. So this information is very important to them. So there's a lot of, even after the video call, there's a lot of back and forth between the training base and the people coming to visit. So initially the training base, the training clubhouse actually might have an idea of who they're sending, but based on the conversations that we're having and the interactions, that might actually change, and they might change the training team a little bit to make sure they're sending the right people for their dream team, right? So right now, Marco is going to talk a little bit about how the training base supports colleagues while they're here in St. Louis.
Hi, it's Marco again. During training, even the best laid plans can go awry. The training team is a great resource for colleagues who are participating in training. If colleagues are experiencing any difficulties, they can contact the colleague training coordinator and/or the team. And this could be not just during the work order day while they're in training at the clubhouse, but it could also mean on the evenings and the weekends as well. So we're always going to be available. And so we can assure that you get the support and resources that the colleagues need. Also, that was brought up earlier, such as maybe the AA, NA meetings, what have you. We also could, this also could mean being flexible with being in the home unit while at the clubhouse, the colleague training clubhouse, or encouraged to take a break from the training because, you're putting in long days or become overwhelmed. So you might have to take a break from the training or whatever that looks like. We'd also like to encourage the clubhouse colleagues to check in with their clubhouses, not only about their action plan, but also about how they are doing at training. If the training base is concerned about one of your colleagues, the training base will contact your clubhouse director to coordinate support and to obtain additional information that may be helpful.
So just to expand a little bit on that, and I think Lisa mentioned it at the beginning, very often, most of the time, colleague training teams run very smoothly. We make sure we talk about everything in advance, but things come up. But more often than not, it seems to be that we have issues with the staff that get sent, that sometimes the staff think it's a mini vacation and they don't take training seriously. And sometimes, unfortunately, I have to drop a dime on some of them and call their director. But post-training, we always tell people, just because the training at Independence Center is over, that doesn't mean the training doesn't keep going, right? We have some formal stuff that we have in place, but very often it's a very informal things, the support that we provide with the training team when they return. It can be phone calls, emails, those kinds of things. But what I see happen more often than not is the training team of colleagues, these dream teams that have been assembled, often really bond with each other and support each other after training. I know for a fact in the many years that I've been doing this, there's colleagues that came to training together 20 years ago that are still in contact and still have these very deep supportive relationships, and they help each other out all the time. So we make sure that at the last day people are here, we make sure they're trading contact information, and we urge them to contact each other and support each other after training, right? So we all, like I said before, we always say that, we're your training base as long as you want us to be. And very much like, clubhouse membership, there's no time limits to the support the training team will provide for you. So thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Independence Center. That concludes the presentation portion of our webinar. Now we'll move on to questions.
So for those that have a question they would like to submit, please click on the Q&A icon in the bottom right corner of your screen. If you do not see the Q&A icon, there's a 3-dot icon that you can click on, and then click on the Q&A option to open that window. So for our first question today, how do you manage running the clubhouse while your team is away for 2 weeks, especially a smaller clubhouse?
High Hopes or Spirit Crossing, would you like to take that question?
Well, I can kind of answer that. So right now I have a staff team of 10. But when we first started doing trainings, we were a staff team of 3. So we really sent one staff and one member for our trainings, and we asked for help from our hospice agency, from our sister clubhouses if we needed it. But we knew that it was an investment to send those folks, so it was well worth it to just come together. And what we really find is that the members really step up when we're short-staffed. That gives a great opportunity for members to really take the lead in the club, and it's a growth opportunity.
Thank you so much. Next question.
Can I add on to that?
Absolutely.
Sure.
we've had a lot of experience with startup, brand new or smaller clubhouses coming for training, and actually not only the auspice agency, but talk to your advisory board or your board of directors too. They can very often help keep the clubhouse open and running, and it's a great experience for those folks, especially to get that clubhouse experience under their belt.
Would anyone else like to add on to that question?
Sure. We're a relatively small clubhouse. We have a staff of 4 plus our director. And so when there's 2 staff out, whether it be a staff and the director or staff and team lead, we are quite a bit down. And to be honest, our member colleagues really do step up. We create a plan for that ahead of time. We talk about ahead of time that we're going to be very short-staffed these 2 weeks, and what is our plan for keeping the clubhouse open and operating, and are we needing to reduce some things or just temporarily, or what are we doing? And we talk about it ahead of time and make sure that we're covered as much as possible. And really those weeks that our training teams are gone, the members are amazing at stepping up and engaging in more leadership responsibilities.
Thank you so much. I guess now we can move on to the next question.
Of course. Our next question, for a new director, what is the right time to attend comprehensive clubhouse training?
For that, I think I'm going to pick on Independence Center because I'm sure Pete has something to say.
As you can see, Tracy and I have a very strong relationship already, so we speak very frankly to each other. But anyway, this is a great question. I think it's been my experience, and I've been doing this for a while, that I think brand new directors should go to clubhouse training almost immediately. I think they should be in their home clubhouse maybe for a month or two, but they should schedule training almost immediately, especially for a brand new clubhouse. And the reason I'm saying this is because I think that they get a primer on the clubhouse model, and clubhouse training is often very inspiring too. And I think you want to have a person almost immediately have basic knowledge of the clubhouse and be inspired and have the passion for the model. I'm not saying there's not some flexibility there, but it's my experience that the sooner the better. And even from speaking from my own clubhouse, we have a brand new clubhouse director, and we're going to send her for training, and we are going to make sure that happens within the next couple of months.
Thank you, Pete. Would any other clubhouse like to step in and answer the question also?
I'd like to chime in on this because I recently got asked this. We started 5 clubhouses here in Maine, and we're now getting to the point where we're turning over and people are starting to retire. And so we have people applying for clubhouse positions, director positions, that don't necessarily have experience in clubhouse. So I was asked this question, and my response was much like Pete's, immediately. And I feel that the one thing that I would add on to what Pete said was, number one, you would earn the respect, or you become that clubhouse person of your staff and members, right? You're supposed to be the leader. So to not share the same experiences that they've had through trainings is hard to lead. And the other thing I would say is that I would encourage the full 2-week training, and not let that director pull the old administrator deal of, I'm too busy and I can only go for 2 days or 3 days at the end. So that was my input.
Well, That part's actually standards based, Lisa. And you are on the faculty too. If you went to a clubhouse and their director had not been for the full comprehensive clubhouse training, that would definitely be a recommendation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you, High Hopes. Thank you, Independence Center. Would you like to add on to that, Spirit Crossing?
We agree.
Perfect.
Okay, great. We'll move on to the next question then.
All right, our next one is it a requirement to have a member go with the staff?
Okay, High Hopes, would you like to take that one?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, James.
Well, It's part of the side-by-side work of the clubhouse. You send the staff and you send a member to go with them to be a team so you have a staff representation and a member representation. They come back.
Not only is it standards based, in our philosophy and our belief of side by side everything in collegial relationships, it's neat. The training, it's so perceived to stop that I'm the clinician and you're the patient or client. This is where the rubber hits the road and you're sharing rooms and you're sharing meals and you're sharing an experience. So absolutely.
Thank you so much. How about you, Spirit Crossing? You have anything to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Members need to be involved in training and absolutely need to go. How can a member be a leader and participate fully in the clubhouse if they aren't equally trained? Do you have something?
I'll add that I gained a much deeper understanding of Clubhouse through the training at Independence Center. Otherwise, I would be at a disadvantage.
I'm going to add on to that, even though I'm moderating. I went to colleague training last year and it was like a chandelier lit up in my head. I got it. So it also has that effect. Anybody else from Independence Center like to contribute to that?
Well, yes, I would. I agree with everything everybody else said. Plus, and I've actually had people almost try to negotiate with me, like for training, saying things like, well, we don't have a member that's interested or ready or something like that. And I really went to exactly what Lisa said. Working in partnership with everything in the clubhouse is a core principle of the clubhouse, and you can't go for training about the clubhouse and ignore that core principle, right? So personally, I don't think any training base is even going to schedule anybody if there's not a member staff team coming for training. That being said, we've had additional staff come, we've had additional members come, but there's always member staff team minimally coming for training, and I don't think we would. This happened very recently, and I said, well, until you can find a member to attend with you, you should probably postpone training.
Thank you so much, Independence Center. Anyone have anything to add to that question that they missed? Okay, great. Then we'll move on to the next question, please.
All right, and you guys have a lot of questions, so don't feel like every single person has to answer. That's perfectly fine. If you guys got something to say, unmute and jump in. So our next one, what is the average cost of the training and is it scheduled?
Okay, Spirit Crossing, would you like to take that? Or maybe High Hopes or Independence Center?
And if no one knows, that's okay. That's something we
Yeah,
can get back to everyone.
I'm not as set on knowing the prices of the individual training bases. So we would not be the best to answer that.
Okay.
Pete, do you have an answer for that?
Yes, I do. The cost is the same at all the training bases. It's $5,000 for established clubhouses, $7,000 for new clubhouses, and I believe it's $2,000 for additional participants to attend, besides the staff member team and the second week administrator. If one of the training bases wants to negotiate with you, you let me know. I'm just kidding. But there is no negotiation in price. The price is been agreed upon by all the training bases and Clubhouse International. So if you see somebody charging more or whatever, charging something different than what's posted on the Clubhouse International website, you should probably inquire a little bit more about that.
Well, Pete, since you have that information, this one might be for you as well. Is there any percentage of or is there a percentage of staff that needs to be colleague trained?
So yeah, I'm with Lisa. I think 100% of the staff should be trained, and as many members as possible should be trained. I think clubhouse training. I will just say personally, if I hadn't gone to training at Fountain House back in the '90s, I'm not sure I'd still be in clubhouse. It was one of those, like, what did Tracy say? A chandelier went off overhead, and after I went to training, I knew then clubhouse is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I swear I've seen over the years many people have similar experiences that were unsure of what they wanted to do. And then after they went for training and spent time at their own clubhouse, it became very clear to them. To answer the question, though, I guess I think in the guidelines for accreditation, it says the majority of your staff, the director for sure, but the majority of your staff, and that there's a plan for ongoing training worked into your budget. But I don't believe there's any numbers attached to the accreditation guidelines.
Does that cost, Pete, include accommodations and travel, or one or the other?
Accommodations and materials are included in the training fees. Travel is not.
Well, that's perfect because that could lead into the next question for us. So how do you support a member that's running into travel complications? Should the team travel together? What is the support if they don't?
So, I'll take a stab at that. We always travel together, and many of my members will tell you it's because they need to support me. We have been stranded, we have been left, we have lost luggage, we've forgotten medication, we've had car breakdowns. We've been homeless in Washington once. So traveling together, we definitely encourage because travel is stressful, especially nowadays. So we would encourage that the colleagues travel together.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to add?
We also travel together, and it gives an additional opportunity to build relationships with each other and talk about the training, continue to develop your method of, okay, so I'm excited about this piece, I'm excited about that piece, and then coming back, oh, I was so excited to learn this piece or that piece, and how we are going to implement it back in the clubhouse. That traveling together is another way to form those work mediated relationships, because the travel is part of the work. Yeah.
I would find it odd if colleagues were coming here. I mean, we just spoke with a big group yesterday, and they're all traveling together. I would find it odd if people weren't traveling together. So I would probably dig a little bit more deeply, and because to me it would send a little red flag would go up in my head saying, well, they don't want to travel with members, why not? And it would maybe send a message that there's a hierarchy or something there. some sort of division. But it has happened, but it's very rare, and it's been for good reasons. But for the most part, I would say always travel together for all the reasons people said.
I'm going to add to that too, because I traveled with a staff member for colleague training, and I really didn't know her. But during that, it's like she and I are now partners in crime. We got so close, we went through so much. So you'll be surprised the friends that you'll make and the relationships you can build by traveling together.
That's all great information.
Anybody have any other add-on to that question? If not, we can move on to the next question.
All right. Our next question. How should the dream team approach the clubhouse about the action plan?
Okay, Spirit Crossing.
Well, in the training process, there is a section in the action plan of how are you planning on bringing this back to your clubhouse. The action plan is not a dream team only responsibility. It is a whole clubhouse responsibility. And so making sure that that section in the action plan is realistic for your clubhouse to present it to the clubhouse and gain consensus on the goals, and with the prior preparation and conversations about what the purpose of the training is for your clubhouse, the action plan should mostly flow into that. And then there should be no surprises when we come back, because we've prepped and we've talked about it. And so then the consensus building process when we're back, when the dream team is back, is a big piece of making sure that everybody has that buy-in and accountability to making sure the clubhouse grows together. Yeah. Okay.
Also, we presented the action plan to our advisory council, so they know what we're doing and they can provide us feedback if there are areas of our presentation that they're not certain about.
Great. Does anyone else have anything to add to this?
Great. All right, our next question. We often have a hard time finding members willing to participate in training for 2 weeks. Do you do anything to encourage or prepare members to participate?
How about you, Independence Center? Would you like to take that one on first?
I thought High Hope should go, but no, that's fine. No, I'm kidding. Well, I think we do when we even as a training base, we send, like as Tracy alluded to, we send people for training on a regular basis too. And we do all the same things, and we're just a little better positioned to help people prepare. I think a lot of times people are afraid to be away from their clubhouse for 2 weeks, away from their friends, their family, all the supports that they have. So I just, when that happens here, I think as much information as you can give people about exactly what to expect will be helpful, right? So there's no surprises about training either, but you have to be realistic too, that there's gonna be times where you're spending 8 hours plus a day at the clubhouse, and you might be only spending 3 or 4 hours a day at the clubhouse here at Independence Center. So you have to prepare for that, maybe even work on clubhouse stamina before you go for training. But I think anything you can do to allay those fears that people are having is gonna be helpful. The thing that we run into sometimes here is a lot of our folks are working, and it's difficult for some folks to get 2 weeks off of their job to go to 2-week training. And sometimes we have to help the the clubhouse that are coming for training negotiate with their employer a little bit to give them the time off, you know? But as much as you can have conversations about what to expect, I think you can get rid of some of that fear.
Thank you, Independence Center. High Host, would you like to add to that?
Well, I don't know that we have a lot to add, but I think, if you do prepare the members and staff beforehand, and you really uh, we really pump up that this is an honor to be selected. And so once you start that talk within the clubhouse, it takes on its own energy for sure. So we really do not do everybody needs to apply to do training. We really try to look at who's rocking the clubhouse, and if they're in a job site, can we offer the employer coverage, or even if it's an SE or whatever we can do to help that member that's really invested in the clubhouse and the model to be successful and go into training. Anything else, James?
I just to reinforce that, alleviate their fears, and just it's an honor to be chosen, and just know that you're going to be supported with a staff member there, and the training bases there are going to be supportive of as well.
And lots of times I'll have them included in the meetings with the training base, or ahead of time, or to talk with colleagues that have been on training before.
We're concentrating a lot on like some of the fears, but I think you got to remind people too that colleague training is fun. I mean, it's a it's a lot of work, but it is fun and inspiring and all those things too.
Yeah, you do get time off. Spirit Crossing? Would you like to put something in on that, or are we good to move on to the next question?
I think we're good.
Okay, next question.
What can the member look forward to in colleague training?
Good question. I don't know who to ask. Who would like to take a start at that question? Spirit Crossing?
I think I can answer that.
Oh, okay.
What a member
Independence
can
Center.
look forward to by going to colleague training. I think it's first and foremost, it's the main purpose would be going to represent your clubhouse and develop an action plan. But the other part, the benefits, are learning more and more about the spirit of the clubhouse model, going over the standards, building the relationships between each and every one of your colleagues. I know whenever I went to my colleague training at Mosaic Clubhouse back in 2016, I'm still connected with those colleagues that I went to training with. And we've built up strong relationships since then. And we still have questions that we shoot back and forth with each other. So it's ongoing. It's almost never ending. I've found that the clubhouse world is the clubhouse family is a lot larger than just your clubhouse. So, just like Tracy said, that chandelier went off in her head. I had a similar experience whenever I went to colleague training, and I'll never.
Looks like we might have lost them. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to add?
I'll add, I was fortunate enough to be colleague trained at Independence Center in the fall of 2019. Um, you get a lot of knowledge, which and there's and experiences. There's like a lot of firsts for me, like going to an Indian restaurant, going to a Korean restaurant. So you form memories and you form a strong relationship with a staff member that you're with, and you get a chance to represent your clubhouse. And there's just so many aspects that just makes the whole experience wonderful. That's all I gotta say.
So the first night, just to add on to that, so James was very, very shy. And the first night that they were at Independence Center, we got a video the next day of James on stage dancing with a blues band.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to apologize. We lost Wi-Fi here for a moment, so I do apologize for that. Is there anyone else that wanted to add on to the question? Okay, then we can move on to another question if you like.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's see. How do you select which training base to send a team to? And how does the team balance the training and tourism?
Okay, how about High Hopes? Would you like to try that one?
Yeah, yeah. So again, so I'll do the tourism thing first. Setting the expectation up front. I make no bones about that. I expect staff and member to be in every training every day, doing the reading and participating fully in the training. We're paying $5,000 for them to be trained, not to run around the countryside. So that being said, it was so wonderful seeing James out in the evening at the Blues Club and having a great time. That's a different experience as well. We send people to train into all of the training bases pretty much within the United States, just because of cost, honestly. To travel outside the United States would, is a little more costly. I love Independence Center and Genesis because over the years, they know our clubhouse. They know our clubhouse from day one, from a startup, before we even had a building. So I'm very comfortable at Genesis. I know they know our club. They've been here a lot. Same thing with Independence Center. That they know our club, they know our members, they know how we operate. Either way, I think spreading out and doing some different training bases, a Gateway or even in Alliance House once in a while is not a bad thing, because you get different ideas from different people. So that's kind of what we do.
How about you, High Hopes?
That was me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Spirit Crossing, I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Tracy. So we look at selecting a training base. We look at a lot of different things. We look at the ways that we're looking to have our clubhouse grow. We look at the different strengths of the training bases. They are all different experiences. We look at the proximity and travel costs. If there is one that is going to be cost prohibitive for us to even get there, we look at our action plan for guiding those ways that our clubhouse needs to grow. Not our action plan, I'm sorry, our accreditation report. And then so our last accreditation, we had faculty from Alliance House and Independence Center, both training bases, and we were working, and so we looked at what pieces and what strengths each of those had, and they were both very strong in ways that we wanted to grow, but we looked at our IPS program, and Independence Center had a strong IPS program already established. So learning that piece and that integration was a piece of selecting the training base. And we have been to Alliance House before. We've been to Gateway before. We've been to Independence. We've been to many, many across the country. So it just depends on where your clubhouse is in that time and what the different training bases strengths are that you're looking for.
Thanks, Trinity. Would you mind clarifying what IPS is for those that may not know, or it's under a different type of acronym for them?
Yeah, it's a supported employment model. It stands for Individualized Placement Support.
Thank you so much for that.
I'd like to chime in if I could on that question.
Of course you
Not the
would.
tourism part, but the training-based selection part. We too, when we send people for training, we'd like to send our folks to a wide variety of different clubhouse cultures, and I think it enriches our clubhouse to go to a lot of different places. That being said, there's something to be said about being regional and close and how that helps with follow-up and costs and everything. But I like what Trinity mentioned about, I'm on the faculty as well, and I went to Spirit Crossing Clubhouse and did their accreditation, which meant when they came here, I already had a really good idea of who they were as a clubhouse and some of the challenges that they had. And I've seen that happening more and more, that not just me, but other faculty members, Marco included, and Joe Schaefer, that when they go do an accreditation, sometimes they'll come to, it's not that they have to, but sometimes they'll come to Independence Center because we already have this knowledge and existing relationship.
Okay, thank you. Did anyone else have anything to add to that? I guess not.
All right.
Are we moving on to more questions?
We are gonna head out. We are at the end of our webinar. Thank you to all of our presenters today. This was a great discussion. We got a lot of great questions. If we have not answered your question, please send an email to the wanawebinar@fountainhouse.org. The recording will be made available next week on our YouTube channel. The link will be located in today's follow-up email. Please take a moment to fill out the short survey that will appear once you leave the event. Thank you for joining today's webinar. Please be on the lookout for our future announcements regarding webinars.